What's more important, butterfly migration pathways or making sure women and children aren't being raped and killed by gang members coming across the border?
Well, most women and children are actually raped and killed by their husbands and family members, statistically. If we could process the backlog, then we might actually get some of them convicted.
Until then, we should just probably let them come across.
Honestly, I'd be fine with that.
What's up, YouTube? It's your Huckleberry here, back with another Kaitlin Bennett reaction video. Man, she really finds the cream of the crop, doesn't she? So, as y'all saw in that clip right there, sitting there shaking, she knew what she was saying was stupid. But anyway, guys, so we're going to get into this video that Kaitlin's got for us here, because she's super entertaining and calling out the bullshit. So, without further ado, let's go!
Hi, guys! Are you going to Warped Tour today?
No, but...
What? You're dressed for Warped Tour and you're not going?
No, but I did go see My Chemical Romance.
Oh,
so.
I saw Falling in Reverse a couple of months ago.
Nice.
Yeah, do you like them?
Yeah.
Do you like Ronnie? Yeah, same. I like Ronnie a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're asking people today for our YouTube channel, if you could grade Donald Trump, a letter grade, A through F, what would you give him?
Oh, F.
An F?
Yeah.
All right, why so?
Because he's not done anything he said he was going to, and he's covered up everything, and he's pardoning everybody who was ever who was ever nice to him, and he's punishing people who were ever mean to him, and that's not how politics.
The pardoning argument. How many people did Biden pardon? His own son? What I really like about Kaitlin is how she's so approachable to these people, and she's not coming at them all heated and argumentative. She lets them do that when they figure out what side she's on or what side they think she's on. As if her freedom shirt doesn't do enough of that. But I will give this purple-haired woman credit for approaching, because she knows, I know she knows with that shirt that who this person probably is, or at least what they stand for. But this is like we saw at the beginning clip, this is going to get real good. Alright, sorry about that, guys. I didn't realize a tree service outside was cutting down some trees. So apologies if you got any kind of loud background noise there at the beginning. But we got that cut out now, so let's get back into this video.
Okay, devil's advocate here. You said he hasn't kept any of his promises. One of his big promises that a lot of people voted for him on was securing the southern border. In the past 6 months, there have been 0 illegals that have been allowed to be released into the United States that have crossed and interacted at the southern border. That is definitely one promise that he has kept.
Unfortunately, I know a lot of people who came into the country illegally due to famine or poverty or criminal persecution, and I believe that there should be a much easier means to get into the country because, for example, one of my ex-boyfriends almost got deported. He was a white Englishman in a high-sector tech job, and he actually almost got deported because of how freaking difficult it is to enter the country illegally. If there were more legal means...
It's granted, that's quite possible what she's saying, but it's still a process to get in, whereas maybe he did try that process or he didn't, and he also came in illegally. It didn't sound like he got deported, so it sounds like he did do it the right way. So, you got to kind of take it with a grain of salt where he almost got deported. But there's clearly a proper and an improper way to come into the country. And many countries around the world have way stricter laws about illegally entering the country. I mean, some countries in Asia will send you to jail. No question. Just you're going to jail.
To enter the country.
So your boyfriend was an illegal immigrant?
Yeah. He had his green card by the time I was dating him, but he's a citizen now and he votes and he almost got deported because it was so hard to keep his paperwork in order.
Well, do you think that people should have the responsibility of keeping their paperwork in order?
But he kept his paperwork in order. It was difficult. College is difficult. Living in today's society is difficult. Lots of things are difficult. And it sucks that people are coming from poverty and famine and all this kind of stuff, but having the ability or just persevering through the difficult times, it is what it is. She's advocating for it to be much easier, and much easier is what we saw, which opened the floodgates to criminals.
Angry.
Well, do you think that people should have the responsibility of keeping their paperwork in order if they're going to come into our country illegally and then obtain a pathway to citizenship? Isn't that fair?
No, because it is so difficult. He had a lawyer. He was doing everything he could, and they unfortunately gave him the runaround.
Okay. I'm of the opinion that if you come into the country illegally and then you go through the avenues of applying for asylum or something like that, that it is your responsibility to then keep on top of all of it, no matter who is giving you the runaround, because you committed a crime coming into the country, and then you have been given the grace of getting a pathway to citizenship when you've already committed a federal crime. And so if your boyfriend almost got deported because he couldn't keep on top of things, that's his responsibility.
Well, unfortunately, he had originally entered the country legally, and it expired before he was able to get all the paperwork in line because of how difficult it was.
Okay, so he didn't enter the country illegally.
He didn't enter the country illegally. Okay. It became illegal once his paperwork expired.
Yeah. So why did he let it expire?
He didn't let it.
Yeah, he did.
I don't understand how he could have done any better.
Yeah. Did he know the expiration date of his visa?
Yes, and unfortunately
then he let it expire.
There was so much backup in the court that it couldn't get processed.
Yeah. Well, he should have known. He knew the expiration date. He has responsibility to respect the people in this country and our laws enough as someone who is not a citizen but was given a card to be able to take advantage of our great country. He should have done a better job. He should have taken more personal responsibility for that, I will say.
There's a lot of shoulda, woulda, coulda there. And I think that if you were not in that situation, then there shouldn't be any judgment there.
Do you think that people know when their license are going to expire and it's up to them to renew their license on time?
Not necessarily. I know I have, so I work in the exotic pet medicine field, and I had one of my friends had a western hognose snake, and she had obtained it from someone who did not know that it was illegal in Illinois to have one without a permit. So she obtained it. She knew that it was illegal to have one without a permit. She applied to Fish and Wildlife to get a permit, and they said, oh, you don't have a permit. There is no avenue to obtain a permit for you, and they took the snake.
Okay. So I would love to talk about snakes.
So shouldn't she have checked on this before she got the snake? If she knew it was an exotic pet?
Snakes and exotic pets another time, but you said that people should not have the personal responsibility to know when, for example, their driver's license expire. When should adults get personal responsibility, and what situation should they have responsibility in?
Well, the unfortunate thing is that it is very, very difficult to even know some of these deadlines because the courts are so backed up.
Your license literally says when it expires. Your visa and the paperwork that everyone gets who comes here and gets a visa, it says when it expires. So what more do they need for them to be responsible with this privilege they've been given in this country?
So for the courts to not be so backed up, because if you have a paper and it has an expiration date on it, and you go to a lawyer and you say, hi, I am not educated enough to have to be able to do all this legal paperwork. I need you to do this paperwork for me. The lawyer does the paperwork, the lawyer submits it into the court, and then the expiration date passes without you hearing from the court. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah, you're supposed to start that process earlier.
How are they supposed to know when to start it?
Because they have an expiration date.
But there is no posted sign on the courts that says it will take X amount of days.
That has nothing to do with my issue to let illegal immigrants stay into this country that can't. Why are people allowed to stay into the country anyway who can't take enough responsibility for themselves to get their paperwork in order to stay here? So when someone's visa expires, what should we do?
We should be able to give them grace periods, and
how long?
Well, that would be up to the judge.
No, how long? How long do you think a grace period should be when someone can't even pay attention to their expiration date? How long?
I honestly don't think you're hearing me, because what I am saying is that they're not.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real. You are really, 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 really so dumb.
Yeah. Visas last for years.
They do.
And when someone has an expiration date for years, It is their responsibility to follow up on that. If that means obtaining a lawyer the next day they get that visa, that's on them. And if they can't even care enough about our laws to let it expire, they get deported. And I think that's completely fair.
Unfortunately, I've seen what's happened in terms of people getting deported to countries that they never live in with languages that they don't speak.
Like who? Your friends?
Everybody who got sent to Venezuela. Who
Who?
are not Venezuelan citizens.
Who?
A lot of the people who were in Alligator Alcatraz.
They got sent to Venezuela?
Yes.
Yeah.
Get up, please.
Okay. Maybe because they were Venezuelan
No,
citizens.
actually, a lot of them were not. A lot of them were either Cuban or from Mexico.
Why are you upset when they're deported to countries they're not from, but they could come to America when they're not from America?
Because they are put in Venezuelan prisons that have extremely inhumane treatment.
I think you're meaning El Salvador.
No,
I think you're meaning El Salvador. Anyway, any other policy issues you have with Trump?
environmental.
Okay.
The border wall, unfortunately, is cutting through a lot of critical habitat, for example, the butterfly migration pathways.
Yeah. What's more important, butterfly migration pathways or making sure women and children aren't being raped and killed by gang members coming across the border?
Well, most women and children are actually raped and killed by their husbands and family members, statistically.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, if there's extra rapists coming in, then what's the big deal, right?
Honestly, if we could process the backlog of rape kits, then we might actually get some of them convicted.
Okay. All right. Until then, we should just probably let them come across.
Honestly, I'd be fine with that.
You're fine with rapists coming over that are illegal immigrants. You're okay with that?
Well, if I knew any rapists who were illegal immigrants, that would be fine. But unfortunately, one of our local church pastors is. So.
Okay. All right. I'm not okay with even one rapist who is an illegal immigrant. If even one rapist or murderer could be stopped coming across the border illegally by that border wall, sorry, butterflies, but your time is over, and we're going to stop women and children from being raped. But if you're okay with that.
Honestly, I would personally prefer that women and children stop being abused by the church and their family members.
Yeah, and illegal immigrants.
Sure.
Okay.
If we could actually prove that that's what they were doing.
Yeah, we can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do you know who Laken Riley was?
That's one case.
Okay. There's thousands like that. Yeah. That could have been prevented had they not been allowed to come across the border, caught, and then released back into our country. The Biden administration has a lot of blood on their hands for what they did with the biggest immigration border crisis in American history.
All politicians have blood on their hands. And they just released the Epstein files about Bill Clinton.
Yep.
So no, unfortunately, all politicians.
They do. Yeah, well, most of them do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate your time.
Sure.
Sorry about the butterflies. Sorry about your ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, that's what I care about.
Yeah. All right. Well, have a good day.
Thanks.
All right. I love your outfit, by the way.
All right, guys. Well, there you have it. Kaitlin, boots on the ground in Florida at the farmer's market, much where she was, I think, when the other video I did, when she was having a very civil conversation with this Mondami-looking dude that's on the left, and his Karen girlfriend stepped in and started getting pretty irritated and ended that conversation. I was at a farmer's market in Hawaii a couple months ago. It was, lots of people walking around. It was pretty laid back. Probably a good spot for her to, post up and talk to people. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you coming through and watching this Kaitlin Bennett video with me. Stay tuned. We'll have more videos coming. So hopefully, you were entertained a little bit. We'll see you next time. You're Daisy if you do. Peace.